Have you heard about the Belt and Road Initiative? It's a neo-colonial game plan of CCP General Secretary Xi Jinping to expand his communist empire across the world, beginning with China's immediate and extended neighborhood. To achieve the same, China traps host countries under mountain loads of debt, and upon their inability to pay back with interest, chips away their sovereignty to make the once vibrantly independent host country a Chinese colony. However, due to the efforts of countries like India and the US, the BRI is falling flat on its face and China's expansionist dreams are collapsing. Want to know how? Watch on! Welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Sanbir Singh, and in this video we talk about the free-falling fortunes of Xi Jinping's flagship Belt and Road Initiative. Chinese President Xi Jinping's world domination dreams have been shattered brutally. Beijing's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative or BRI loans have crashed to a historic low, and Xi has only two men to blame: India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and former US President Donald Trump. A latest Kabul Times report has revealed that Chinese lending under Xi Jinping's flagship BRI has come down from $75 billion in 2016 to merely $3 billion in 2020. It is not a coincidence that it was also during this period that Modi and Trump led a major anti-China campaign. In fact, it is the Modi-Trump effect that has bamboozled Xi's BRI. The BRI has registered a major slump over the last 1 year, and the reasons are clear. China created a pandemic and started facing backlash from all parts of the world. Also, the Chinese economy is too badly bruised to fund Xi's ambitious infrastructure development program. Yet, the amount of BRI loans has been continuously going down over the past 4-5 years. Its demise isn't solely attributable to the pandemic, though the pandemic did accelerate the process. So, what are the real reasons? Actually, Belt and Road Initiative projects have failed for a number of reasons, but the debt problems attached to the initiative is the biggest reason. The BRI, when launched in 2013, was billed as a new age Silk Road by China. Yet, a few years down the line, it became amply clear that the BRI wasn't just about connectivity, and this is where the troubles began. In a 2017 analysis, an Indian geostrategy expert, Brahmachalani, pointed out China's debt-trap diplomacy. It became clear that Beijing would offer loans for unviable projects and secure access to resources or markets after likely defaults by the recipient nations. The thing is that China promised to give connectivity through BRI, but the BRI turned out to be an instrument of foreign policy coercion. Therefore, many recipients either rejected BRI loans or started reviewing the process. Modi and Trump managed to successfully associate debt-trap diplomacy with the BRI. In forums from Asia to Africa, the US issued warnings about the risk attached to the Chinese loans. India, on the other hand, was more subtle in its warnings but was equally effective. New Delhi managed to convince others that the BRI is a form of neocolonialism. Prime Minister Modi, for instance, said, "History has taught us that in the name of development partnerships, nations were forced into dependence partnerships. It gave rise to colonial and imperial rule. It gave rise to global power blocs, and humanity suffered." Proving how Chinese BRI loans can be debt traps isn't much of a task. The world had already seen what happened with Hambantota. China funded a Sri Lankan port project, and soon it was discovered that the project was unsound. The strategically located Sri Lankan port actually fell into China's hands under a long-term lease. The Hambantota port fiasco, of course, preceded the BRI, but the essence of predatory Chinese lending wasn't dissimilar. And then the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, a part of the BRI, again proved that Beijing chips away with a piece of your sovereignty as consideration for its loans. More importantly, Trump and Modi did manage to move above rhetoric. The former US president's entire tenure was an awful thrill-minute ride for China. Trump managed to ruin the Chinese economy with a major tariffs war. This, of course, brought down China's capacity to dole out big loans. More specifically, Trump slapped sanctions on CCCC, a leading BRI entity in China. India, on the other hand, played a very constructive role in its periphery. For quite some time, India has been rendering cost-effective infrastructure services in its entire neighborhood minus Pakistan. In fact, the Modi government is promoting inter-boundary roads, port development and other infrastructure in countries like Afghanistan, the Maldives, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Bhutan, Nepal and Bangladesh. With the passage of time, New Delhi has managed to bring along the US. The message is clear: if you choose India over China, the US will come along with you. Right at the end of his tenure, Trump too was thinking on lines of providing an infrastructure lending alternative to the BRI. In Africa, he was actually getting actively involved to damage the BRI in countries like Sudan, Tunisia and Morocco. And then there were also reports of a US-Taiwan initiative rivaling Beijing's BRI. If you see the world getting saved from China's debt trap diplomacy and the BRI biting the dust, you ought to thank Trump and Modi for making it possible.